northwest wind switching to northeast. Decisions. See, this says it was more switching to just a north wind. I mean, regardless, we're going to have to park down here.
Where are we going to sit?
We're reluctantly going to go to the blind.
What the heck is today? 13th? What?
The 14th.
Alright, so tonight is definitely October 14th. I don't know, it's crazy that we're already to this point in October. Feels good to be down here at Area 52 tonight. I was a little indecisive on where I wanted to hunt, and all the conditions are telling me that I need to go to the Mobile Command Center, but I really wanted to be in a tree tonight. I haven't hunted in a few days and been out of the game a little bit, so I really wanted to be in a tree tonight. Feels good out. It's probably getting to the point now, especially with the beans are going to come out here pretty quick, where if we don't hunt this Mobile Command set where it's at, we're going to have to be moving it here pretty soon. So need to come up with a name of a buck that we're after tonight. Normally I'm pretty good at coming up with them, and this is a face that's been around here for a little while, but he's probably the #1 target. Old mature deer, old warrior. I love that stuff. Got a little walk into the blind tonight, get set up, and we're gonna have a pretty view tonight, no doubt. Your usual fall cleaning. Eat them. Higher protein content than beef. I was just going to say earlier too about these releases is that, you know, we always get that cool shot about like putting on your spot hog release. I feel like this season, I know we've only hunted like, what, 3 or 4 times? Tonight will be the 4th hunt, right?
I think so.
4th hunt tonight. I've been like nailing putting this on and off, but I always feel like that's like a pressure shot that you like, can you get it on and off without looking like an idiot?
I see your hand shaking every time.
I get more nervous about that than flinging an arrow. We are just finishing getting set up here in the Mobile Command Center. Beautiful night. We got that beautiful front that we all dream about here in early October that came through yesterday. Light breeze going on, and for anyone that hunted last night, it seemed like a lot of people had success last night. I did not make it out. I elected to stay home, and my wife's going to think that she really won out that battle because she was pleading at me to stay home yesterday and just kind of spend some time at home, because I've been pretty busy working on some DIY home improvement projects at home. I didn't pick the best timing, but yesterday was more of a strategic move. It's a long season, so I let her feel like she won the battle yesterday, and I'm sure she'll see this footage at some point in time and I'll get yelled at for it, but that'll be weeks, months down the road, so we don't have to worry about that. We are set up, and I like how this blind is set up right now. Essentially, we have the alfalfa field sitting in front of us where, there's probably, about 1.5 acres right in front of us, just a little square block. I've always referred to this area of Area 52 as the hourglass. So essentially, we're right in the center of the hourglass. The beans is still standing down here. My farmer, who has had Area 52 since I've owned it, he's had some really tough luck this year with equipment, breakdowns and stuff like that, but it looks like the beans are pretty close, and gosh, it's just crazy dry here in southern Iowa. So I imagine that it's just a matter of days at this point in time, which that really does change how I'll be able to access portions of the farm, be able to walk across the bean field and everything else. But gosh, it's a beautiful night, and looking forward to what we're going to see tonight. This camera that's right out in front of us, this cuttyback's been pretty active. There's a scrape there, and there's been a number of bucks that are working their way through here. The buck I call Curly Fry, I'm pretty confident he's a 4-year-old, so I'm putting him on the no-fly zone for right now. I'd love to see what can happen with that deer in the future. We're going to hunker down for a little bit, enjoy the luxury of being in the redneck blind. I always forget how nice it is to be able to sit in here and have all the camera gear sprawl out a little bit. Looking forward to whatever shows up tonight and enjoying this beautiful weather. It's just a little bit before 5:30 right now. We haven't seen any deer activity yet, but gosh, it feels good. It's given us an opportunity to talk about that buck that I've been going back and forth. You know, it's been well documented at this point in time that I use the food theme down here at Area 52, and I think a lot of people think that I'm just like randomly pulling food names and just assigning them to these deer, but I do try to like look at them and if they have identifiable features, I try to equate that to, you know, some type of food, or like what does it make me think of. And I don't know, that's just how my mind works sometimes, because I feel like I have a lot of friends that are reaching out to me for, you know, if they have target bucks, like just the way I think about that type of stuff. I don't know, it just seems to make sense to me a lot of times. Where we were sitting here, and I think that the biggest thing I notice about that buck is that he has like a protruding forehead, and he's always had it, very distinct, a little bump. We were kind of playing with that a little while. We were on watermelons, cantaloupes, and trying to think about him having a big head. And then we started talking about pumpkins, and then Dave brought up gourd, and or even squash is kind of how it started. And then we were talking about if all pumpkins are gourds or how that works. So I like the two names. I like gourd and I like squash. That makes sense. It's kind of a funny story, and I guess it makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but I like that. I like squash. I like that quite a bit, and I think gourd we might save for another buck, you know, in the future. So I think squash is gonna stick. Who knows? Maybe we'll squash him. But that was a big accomplishment for tonight. So squash has officially been named. Showing off a little bit tonight with that sunset. We got just a few minutes of legal left here, and gosh, it's been an awesome hunt. We've had seen a lot of deer, and I feel like there's been a lot of deer that have been within, I don't know, 120 yards that we haven't seen either. We had unfortunately a little flurry activity there for a little while where we had 3 young bucks. They look like potentially a 2-year-old and maybe a couple 3-year-olds. That one buck has really some good potential, the last one that was coming in. But we had 3 raccoons that had been mulling around in front of us, and I could hear them directly underneath the blind. and it looked like they got the attention of that front deer. He was trying to figure out what was going on underneath the blind, and then he unfortunately ended up walking downwind of us. They weren't really spooked. We had the ozonics run out, and like I feel good about our scent cone. It was just one of those deals where they weren't sure what they were picking up on, seeing movement underneath the blind, where they're all still standing out there. I can see them around the edge of the timber, but it almost feels like a late season type thing where, you know, they see something they can't put to it, and then they run off a little ways. But lots of movement tonight. I mean, gosh, I can see deer moving up to the north right now, and I mean, we're probably pushing 15, you know, maybe even above that for deer for tonight, which is awesome to be able to see that. It's definitely picking up. Good to see that type of deer movement. I think with the weather, I'm going to try to sneak at least a couple more afternoon hunts in this week if I can. Feels good to finally be getting some cooler temps, and we're going to take advantage of it and spend some time in the tree. Which hat you feeling tonight, Dave?
You want to be matchy or?
Do a little matchy, or I don't know. I like this hat. Let's give him something to talk about. Right. Game face.
Let's roll.
Think that'll ride?
Yeah, that ain't going anywhere.
Alright, I'm just getting to the tree. I know somebody's gonna probably roast me for making Dave walk, but they did not spend the money that I spent on that Kaufman bike to have it sit in the back of my truck, so it's a great tool. I want to be able to utilize it. We're minimizing ground scent by just one person, so it makes sense, especially when we can lighten the load on the people walking in and out. Awesome tool. October 16th, here we go, down at Area 52. We came back to this white oak that I've hunted a lot in the past, and this is on the north side of my farm. We actually came through my neighbors tonight and used that to access with a south wind. But we came to this spot because the buck that I call Squash, that Dave and I named in the blind the other night, he's been really active in this little area. It seems like, from what I'm gathering from my information, looking back through my trail cam pics, you know, he's a buck that he's been down here on Area 52, and I mean, really since I bought it back to 2021 and 2022, but he just, you know, wasn't really prevalent on the farm a whole lot, and, you know, just wasn't a buck that I was targeting because there were other mature bucks. So he appears to be the most mature one in the area right now. It seems like a lot of these times you can get some of these older deer that have a smaller core, where he definitely seems like he's in a pattern right now where he's coming back to this little hub back through here and then working his way on this alfalfa. So with it being a south wind tonight, it's supposed to be a southwest switching to a southeast, which is essentially just blowing right into our face right now. And once we get to the thermal point tonight, it's going to suck it down into the ditch to the north of us. We're hunting that classic green to green transition here, alfalfa, and then my beans were just picked last night. The farmer legitimately just pulled out as we were getting set up. So I think we're gonna see some deer movement tonight. The weather's nice. I mean, it's a high of 60 today, but it's gonna cool off pretty quick because it's supposed to get pretty low tonight. We're gonna try to quiet down for a little while, take advantage of that farmer made some commotion when he was pulling out of the grain carts and doing that, and then allow things to settle down before things really start to kick off tonight. Hopefully we're in for a show.
It's right at 6 o'clock. And gosh, we've seen a pile of deer tonight. I think we're probably, I don't know, 10 or 12. It was hard to tell how many we've seen. But unfortunately, we had like a really mature doe. It was actually one we saw the other night, super dark hide. They snuck in downwind of us, which they made it through our wind. But I think that they ended up seeing us when we were trying to scramble, because I was going to shoot that front doe because she was definitely acting like she was spooky a little bit. But unfortunately, they seen us up in the tree, so sucks. But they didn't spook too bad. She blew one time and they ran off, but it did clear the field right out in front of us. Still got about an hour left, so there's still plenty of time for something to happen yet tonight. So hopefully Squash will be on his feet soon.
Well, we are just getting back to the truck. Overall, good sit. I think we saw 15 plus deer, no bucks tonight. A lot of them, it was hard to tell if we were seeing duplicates of them over and over again, but good sit. It felt good tonight. I mean, I think if things play out just a little bit differently, that one doe blew downwind of us and kind of picked us off in the tree, but she ended up coming out in the field and didn't really know what was going on, so they continued to feed out in the alfalfa. But I think if that plays out a little bit differently, maybe we see a buck tonight. But I'll be really curious what the cameras do tonight. I think it feels good. I think the next couple days could be potentially good in the mornings. Dave and I were talking where I think Saturday morning we're going to try to get out and maybe do the first morning set. I'm not sure on my schedule quite yet, but I think if we can, we're going to try to get out Saturday morning. So fun set, nice and cool temps. Felt like fall tonight, no doubt, but tonight was a fun one. And I got a little jittery with a few of those does getting in bow range, so that felt good to have that first one of the season.